So just a reminder that you're still under oath, Mr. Depp, okay? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Depp.
Good morning.
Yesterday, you told us a little bit about the beginning of your relationship with Ms. Heard. When did Ms. Heard's behavior towards you begin to change?
I believe, as I said yesterday, there was a hint of something with the having to do with the boots coming off and breaking routine. Her attitude, or the way that she would begin to speak to me. First things started coming up, and I was suddenly just wrong about everything. If I made a statement about something that I had been familiar with, for example, in my work that I'd been chopping away at for a good 30-something years, I was suddenly wrong. And then beyond that, if you tried to explain yourself and correct the problem, the misunderstanding, it would then begin to heighten as Ms. Heard was unable to be wrong. It just didn't happen. She couldn't be wrong. So these little digs and it would commence with sort of demeaning, name-calling, berated, sort of to be made a fool of, and those would escalate into a full-scale argument. And in the beginning, as one does, one sticks up for oneself in a debate, as it were, or an argument over something to try to prove the point. But when it escalates, and then it's hard to explain, but the argument would start here, and then it would roll around and become this circular thing of its own. So you get back to the beginning, essentially, of the argument. Now it's heightened even more, but it's still circular, and there's no way in or out. If there's a dialogue between two people, both people need to speak, but there was no way to fit a word in. It was a sort of a rapid fire, sort of endless parade of insults and you know, looking at me like I was a fool, and I just couldn't. I was having difficulty in my mind, of course, and in my heart, dealing with that sort of barrage. And part of that is I was confused as to the fact that whatever her age was at the time of these various arguments, she was mid-20s to late 20s and into 30s. I couldn't understand how I had somehow arrived at where I'd arrived from where I came from in the beginning of my life and worked for 30 plus years doing these things. It was astounding how wrong I was about everything that I'd experienced within the movie, within the film industry, or within, well, in just life itself. No, I was sort of not allowed to be right, not allowed to have a voice. So at a certain point, when what enters your mind is, you start to slowly realize that you are in a relationship with your mother, in a sense. And I know that sounds perverse and obtuse, but the fact is that some people search for weaknesses in people. That is to say, sensitivities. And when you've told that person your life and what you've lived through and what you've been through, just as happens in relationships, the more that became ammunition for Miss Heard to either verbally decimate me or to send me into a kind of tailspin of confusion and depression and well, it's not a happy day, it's not a happy week, it's not a happy month when you're constantly being told how wrong you are about this or that, what an idiot you are, or anything. It just then it increased, and it became an endless. It became that endless circle. Like, so as it escalated and continued to escalate, I went straight to what I had learned as a youth, which was to remove myself from the situation so that it couldn't continue, because there's only so much your ears can hear and never forget. So I would remove myself from the situation, as I'd done as a youth, as much as possible. Because I certainly didn't believe that there was any need for these various subjects or arguments to come up and travel the distance that they did so very quickly, to ramp up so fast. It was like you were pinned to a wall and had to just listen to it and take it. So I found the only way to find any sort of peace was to try to walk away. If she didn't allow me to walk away, there were times when I would just go and lock myself in, the bathroom or anywhere that she couldn't get into, and that happened constantly over the years.
What would happen when the fights would escalate, other than going and hiding in the bathroom?
I'm sorry? What would happen? Well, if they continued to escalate, if I continued to try to present my version or my side of the story, when you're approached in a kind of well, when you're approached with such anger and hatred, it seemed like pure hatred for me. If I stayed to argue that, eventually I was sure that it was going to escalate into violence, and oftentimes it did. Many times it did.
And when you say violence, what are you referring to specifically?
Miss Heard, in her frustration and in her rage and her anger, she would strike out. She would. It could begin with a slap. It could begin with a shove. It could begin with, throwing a TV remote at my head. It could be throwing a glass of wine in my face. But all in all, it was just it was a constant. There was a built-in list of as I said, my personal experiences, which I gave to Miss Heard, those things were. Those facts were used against me as weapons, especially when it came to my kids. So yeah, I did. There was no need for it. There was no need for it. Too many lines were crossed. You couldn't see the lines anymore.
You mentioned that Ms. Heard would use information you gave her against you like a weapon. Can you explain that a little bit?
I mean, I've said this before in various interviews, but certainly in life. If I have one ambition, and ambition for me, when you equate it with Hollywood, has become an ugly word in a sense, because ambition means I want to be famous at any cost. I don't care what for. I just want to be famous. That's one thing. That's one part of it. If you have hunger or a need or a drive to present your work, that to me is the way to go about it. Fame has nothing to do with it. So I was more, basically, the only ambition that I've ever had in my life arrived the second that my first child arrived. In the instant, which was to be a good parent, to be a great father, to be the best father I could. And there were several occasions where Miss Heard would tell me what a bad father I was, and that I had no idea how to parent. And again, it falls into the same category as before. I couldn't understand how in 52 years, or however old I was at the time, how I could be so wrong about everything. One learns along the road. The result of the road is not important. It's the road that's important, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen in 10 years. We don't know. So the road is what I pay attention to, and paying attention to, trying to spend as much time with my children as possible. Even that would, that could send Miss Heard into a monumental tailspin, where I could hardly ever go and see my kids and spend time with my kids, because she had to have me there at all times for her own needs.
So,
And that was something that, once you realize that that's happening, and then there are hassles between the children and her, the situation starts to get a little more grim and a little more dire. And that I was not prepared to take. I would not hear the words, "You're a bad father, you're a terrible father, you're an awful father." So one can only take so much of that before bits of your brain start to just, bits of your brain, bits of your heart begin to, the valve gets shut off because you can't hear it anymore. And you know that it's not true, and you know that it's meant as a weapon. It's to slice you up, it's to bring you down, it's to demean you, it's to bring you into a place where you start to believe that there's something wrong with you. And there's plenty wrong with me. There's plenty wrong with a lot of people. But in all of these situations, my main goal was to retreat, because I think in life, most important is pick your battles. If there's a battle to be fought that is grave and important, then that must be dealt with. But small insults and kind of teenage sort of high school tactics, this bullying, if you will, was becoming too much to take.
so why did you stay with Miss Heard given this type of behavior?
That's a very complicated answer. I can only say that I stayed through all that. I'm sure that it's somehow related to my father remaining stoic as my mother would beat him to death. I'm sure it had a lot to do with having been in a beautiful, wonderful 14, 15-year relationship with Vanessa, the mother of my children. Raising those kids was, there was, I had no interest in being a, you know, the words that they use that I dislike very much, a celebrity or an entertainer, or fame is a strange word because I could never equate it with myself. I pumped gas, I worked construction, I printed T-shirts, I dug in, you know, I had many, many jobs before any of this happened to me. So I've been able to live both sides of that life, of life. I know the very lows, and I know the very highs of where my life has gone. And it's not, I don't, again, it would be pure idiocy for me to sit up here as an actor who's been very, very fortunate over the years, and I can only say it's luck in the sense that someone hands you the ball in the beginning, and you run with it, and you run as far as you can before you get tackled. So that's what I've always done. But what happens is when the word celebrity or when you are a, what do they call it, a public figure, that's what it is, a celebrity or a public figure. Again, not complaining, but there are things that are very uncomfortable, and that is to say that at that point anybody can say anything they want to about you. And that's happened to me over 36 years or more, that things can be printed in the newspaper that are utterly false. This is even early on. So this is where that privilege, I suppose, that they call the privilege of celebrity, that's where that sticks a knife in you.